The night was quiet. The man sat alone in his small house on the edge of town. The wind outside shook the old windows. He thought it was only another storm passing by. Then came the sound. A knock on the door. Slow, heavy, and firm. His heart tightened. No one came to his door at this hour. He stood cautious, and walked across the wooden floor. Each step echoed louder in the silence. His hand trembled as he reached for the handle. When he pulled the door open, his breath caught in his throat. There she stood. The girl he had saved long ago. But she was no longer a girl. Her skin was the same deep blue, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Her eyes burned with something fierce. Anger. Power. Memory. She had grown tall, graceful, and dangerous. He could not speak at first. His mind rushed back to the night many years ago. A small child, weak and terrified, clinging to his arm as soldiers hunted her. He had lifted her, shielded her, and carried her through the fire. He had promised her safety, then left her in the hands of the stars. He thought she was gone forever. Yet now she stood before him. No longer helpless. No longer soft. "You," she said. Her voice was sharp, strong, and cold. "You saved me once. Now you will answer." The man stepped back. "Answer? What do you mean?" His words were unsteady. His heart beat fast. Her eyes narrowed. "I did not come to ask. I came to claim." The storm outside roared louder, as if her presence called it. She stepped forward, and he saw the shimmer of strange armor under her cloak. A weapon rested at her side, humming with energy. Her every move was measured, controlled, and heavy with purpose. "You owe me," she whispered. "And now the debt must be paid." He shook his head, fear and confusion pulling at him. "I do not owe you anything. I saved you because it was right. That was all." She leaned closer. Her face was inches from his. Her breath was warm against his cheek, yet her tone was cold. "You tied yourself to me that night. Do you think a life saved is without cost? My people are dying. My world is burning. I did not come here for kindness. I came for you." The man felt the weight of her words. Her eyes held no trace of the child he remembered. Only a storm of command and sorrow. He swallowed hard. "Why me? I am only a man. I cannot fight your war." A shadow crossed her face. For a moment, her voice softened. "Because you are the one who held me when I was nothing. You are the one who showed me mercy when I had no hope. I do not forget. My people do not forget." Her voice hardened again. "Now you will rise with me." Lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder shook the ground. Her figure glowed against the storm. She raised her hand, and the air shimmered with strange light. He felt small before her. Power radiated from her, and yet beneath it he saw something hidden. A wound inside her. A grief she could not speak. He whispered, almost to himself, "You are not asking." Her lips curved into a grim smile. "No. I am not." The silence between them pressed heavy. The man's mind raced. He remembered the small blue hands that once clung to his shirt. He remembered the tears of the frightened child. He remembered the promise he made to himself to protect her. Now she was no longer the one needing protection. She was the storm itself. "Come with me," she ordered. Her voice shook the air, strong and final. "If you refuse, I will tear open this world until you obey." The man stared at her. His chest rose and fell with uneven breaths. Fear mixed with something else. Something he had buried long ago. The strange pull of fate. The dangerous spark of destiny. His eyes searched hers, looking for the child he once knew. But all he saw was the warrior she had become. The door creaked in the wind. The storm raged louder. And in that moment, he knew his life would never be the same again. The girl he saved long ago had returned. And she was no longer asking nicely. The storm had not passed. It raged harder, as if the night itself bowed to her command. The man stood frozen in the doorway. The woman with blue skin did not wait for his words. She stepped inside as if his home already belonged to her. Her boots echoed on the wooden floor. She turned slowly, eyes tracing every corner, as if measuring the weight of his small world. Her presence filled the room, leaving no space for silence. "You think saving me was only a moment in your life," she said. Her voice carried a strange rhythm, part human, part alien, but sharp with power. "For me, it was everything. That night you gave me more than breath. You gave me a future. Do you think such a gift comes without cost?" He tried to steady his voice. "I saved you because I could not let a child die. That is all. I owe you nothing." Her eyes darkened. She stepped closer, close enough for him to see the faint glow of veins under her skin. "You owe me everything. Because of you I lived. And because I lived I rose. But my people are now trapped in fire and chains. They scream for help, and I am bound to them. You are bound to me. This is the debt." The man's chest tightened. He looked away, staring at the old table in the corner, at the quiet life he had built after years of wandering. He had buried his past, hoping never to be dragged into war again. "I cannot fight for you," he whispered. "I am only one man." Her hand shot forward and grabbed his wrist. The strength in her grip was like iron. Her eyes glowed, burning into his soul. "One man saved me once. That was enough to change everything. One man can change a world. I chose you then. I choose you now." His breath shook. He felt the heat of her skin, the raw force of her demand. Yet behind her fire, he saw something hidden. A quiet tremble in her lips. A shadow of fear in her eyes. She was not only a warrior. She was also a woman carrying the weight of thousands. The man pulled his hand free. He stepped back, but his heart would not let him turn away. "You speak of choice," he said. "But this is not choice. You come into my home with threats. You want to drag me into a war I do not understand." Her expression hardened. She touched the weapon at her side. It hummed like a living thing. "If I must drag you, I will. Do not test me." Silence fell. Only the storm outside filled the room. The man studied her. He remembered her small body pressed against him years ago, shivering in fear. He remembered the promise he had made to himself that night, though he never spoke it aloud. That he would never again allow innocence to be destroyed before his eyes. Now she was no longer innocent. She was the storm itself. Yet something in his chest ached, a voice that whispered she was still the girl he once carried through the flames. Her eyes softened for a single breath. "I do not want to threaten you. But I cannot go back to my people without you. If you refuse, they will die. And their blood will not only be on my hands. It will be on yours." The words pierced deep. He felt the weight of them settle heavy in his chest. The room seemed smaller, his heart louder, the storm stronger. He closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, he found her gaze waiting. Her strength pressed against him, but so did her sorrow. He whispered, almost broken, "What do you want from me?" Her voice dropped, steady but filled with hidden pain. "I want you to come with me. To fight beside me. To be what you once were to me. My savior. My strength. My hope." His breath caught. The storm outside gave a roar, as if sealing her demand. And in that moment he understood. This was no request. This was fate knocking again at his door. The room grew colder. The storm outside had not calmed. It seemed to answer her heartbeat, pulsing with every word she spoke. The man stood still, but inside, his spirit shook. She had claimed him as a debt. She had reminded him of the life he once saved. Now her eyes burned brighter, showing she would not leave without him. "Your world is small," she said, her voice steady. "Your walls are weak. Do you think they can keep me out? Do you think they can protect you?" Her hand lifted. With a soft gesture, the light in the lamp flickered, then burst. The room sank into shadows. He gasped. She had not touched it. She had only willed it. Her power was no longer hidden. He stepped back. His voice trembled. You did not come as the child I remember. You came as something else. Something dangerous. Her lips tightened. Danger is all I know now. My people bleed. My skies burn. If you think I will beg, you are wrong. If you refuse, then I will bring your world to its knees until you agree. The man's pulse raced. He wanted to shout, but his words stuck. She was not bluffing. The storm outside screamed as if her anger was part of it. A heavy sound shook the earth. He rushed to the door and looked out. Through the rain and lightning he saw them. Shadows moving between the trees. Tall figures with armor that glowed faintly blue. Soldiers of her kind. They were already here. He turned back to her. His chest felt tight. You brought them. You came ready for war. Her eyes softened, but only for a breath. I gave you a choice. Come with me as one who stands by my side. Or come as one carried in chains. His fists clenched. He remembered holding her as a child. He remembered whispering that she would live, that she would see another dawn. Now that promise had grown into this moment, a storm that threatened everything he knew. Her steps brought her close again. Her face hovered inches from his. He could feel the energy burning through her skin. Do not make me hurt what you love. I do not want to destroy your world. But I will. For them. For my people. Her words were a blade against his heart. He looked into her eyes. He searched for mercy, for the frightened child, for the soul he once saved. All he found was a fire that refused to be put out. The soldiers outside drew nearer. Their shadows stretched long in the lightning. Their armor hissed with power. The man knew they could level the town in minutes. His hands shook. You would do this. You would bring war here. Her voice dropped low. I would do worse if it means saving them. You know I speak truth. The storm howled. His chest ached with the weight of her demand. She was not asking for help. She was giving him a command backed with fire and blood. He looked out at the soldiers again, then back at her. His breath slowed, but his heart did not. He knew that resisting her meant destruction. But giving in meant leaving behind everything he knew. The choice was closing around him. Her people pressed at his doorstep. Her power filled his home. And her eyes, fierce yet trembling with hidden grief, demanded his answer. The girl he once saved had become a woman who held the power to end worlds. And she was no longer asking. The man stood at the edge of choice. Outside, the soldiers waited. Inside, the blue-skinned woman stood like a storm in human form. The weight of her demand pressed on him until his chest burned. He finally lowered his eyes. If I go with you, will you call them back? His voice was tired, filled with surrender and hidden fear. Her lips curved, not into a smile, but into something sharper. Yes. They obey me. But only if you obey first. His body trembled as he stepped past the threshold. The rain hit his skin, cold and sharp. The soldiers parted as she walked into the storm. Their armor glowed, casting strange light across the trees. None of them spoke. Their silence was more terrifying than any threat. She lifted her hand. The soldiers faded back into the shadows. The storm eased, though the clouds still rumbled as if they waited for her command. The man followed her down a narrow path. His home shrank behind him, vanishing into the rain. His chest ached as he thought of everything he was leaving. The life he built. The peace he clung to. Now it was slipping into memory. Through the trees, a shape emerged. A vessel rested on the ground, its surface smooth and alive with glowing lines. It pulsed like a beating heart. The ship was larger than any building in his town, yet it hummed softly, as if holding its breath. The ramp lowered. Light spilled out, pale and cold. He stopped at the edge. If I step inside, there is no going back. She turned, her eyes meeting his. For a moment, her face softened. You already stepped inside when you saved me long ago. This is only the path you set in motion. His throat tightened. Her words carried truth he could not deny. He climbed the ramp. The air inside the ship was thick with energy. Strange symbols shifted across the walls like living script. Soldiers stood lined in silence, watching him with eyes that glowed faintly under their helmets. But his eyes were fixed on her. She moved ahead with grace, each step filled with the certainty of a queen returning to her throne. Yet he noticed something. A small tremor in her hand. A flicker of exhaustion in her shoulders. She was strong, but she was not unbroken. The corridors led them to a wide chamber. Transparent walls showed the storm fading over the forest below. Stars glimmered above, endless and cold. The man pressed his palm against the glass. His world looked small from here. His home was nothing more than a dark shape swallowed by the trees. His heart ached with loss. She stepped beside him. Her voice dropped lower, almost gentle. Do not fear the distance. Once you carried me through fire. Now I carry you through the stars. He turned to her. For the first time, he saw her not only as a warrior but as a woman burdened by a heavy crown. Her eyes, though fierce, carried shadows of grief. Why me? He asked again, his voice softer this time. She faced the stars. Because when no one else cared, you did. My people believe only strength matters. But you taught me that mercy has power. That is why I came back. That is why you must stand with me. The ship trembled as engines roared to life. Light surged beneath their feet. The ground below shrank until the forest, the town, and his home disappeared into the clouds. He gripped the rail, heart pounding. The world he knew was gone. The stars now waited ahead. The woman stood tall beside him. Her cloak shifted in the rising wind of the chamber. She looked like a figure carved from flame and sorrow. Yet when her hand brushed his arm, the touch was not commanding. It was almost hesitant. Almost human. The man's breath caught. His chest tightened with a feeling he could not name. Fear. Wonder. Or perhaps something that had been buried since the night he first saved her. The ship cut through the clouds. The sky opened wide, endless and dark. His old life was left far behind. His new fate began among the stars. And at the center of it all stood the blue-skinned woman, the child he once carried, now the queen who carried him. The stars stretched endless outside the ship. Cold light washed over the chamber where the man stood, staring into the void. He felt small, as if the universe itself pressed down on him. Yet beside him stood the blue-skinned woman, and her presence burned brighter than the stars. The silence did not last. A sharp alarm echoed through the corridors. Red light flashed across the walls. Soldiers rushed past with weapons raised. The man's chest tightened. He turned to her. What is happening? Her eyes sharpened. Pirates. They hunt our ships. Stay close to me. The ship shook with the first strike. Metal screamed. The floor trembled under his feet. He grabbed the railing, but she stood firm, her body steady against the storm of impact. The next blast tore through the hull. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Soldiers shouted orders in their strange tongue. The man felt fear crawl up his spine. He had seen war before, but this was different. This was fire in the sky. The woman drew her weapon. It hummed with power, glowing bright in her hand. She turned to him. Do not run. Fight beside me. He almost laughed from the madness of it. He had no weapon, no training for battles among the stars. Yet something in her eyes rooted him. He remembered the girl clutching his hand years ago. Now, it was she who held out her hand to him. The ship shuddered as enemy soldiers breached the corridor. Dark armor glistened under the red lights. Their voices were cruel, their movements sharp. She charged first. Her blade cut through the air, striking sparks as it clashed against enemy steel. The man had no choice. He grabbed a fallen weapon from the floor. Heavy, strange, but alive with energy. He raised it just as the first attacker rushed at him. Instinct guided him. He blocked the strike, sparks flying close to his face. He pushed back with all his strength, then swung wildly. The weapon sang with light. The enemy fell. His heart raced, but his body remembered the old fire. the fire of survival. She fought near him, swift and fierce. Her movements were like a storm given flesh. Every strike carried grace and rage together. Yet when she glanced at him, her eyes burned with pride. More enemies poured in. The chamber shook as the ship spun to dodge blasts. Together they fought. Side by side. He moved where she moved, striking when she struck. They were two against many, yet the bond between them made them more. Finally, silence returned. The floor was littered with broken armor. The red light dimmed. Soldiers cheered in their strange tongue, voices rising with relief. The man leaned against the wall, chest heaving. His hands shook, but his spirit burned hot. He looked at her. She stood tall, weapon still glowing, eyes fixed on him. "You fought," she said softly. "Not for me. Not for them. But for yourself. The fire is still in you." He tried to catch his breath. "I thought it was gone. I thought I'd buried it." Her gaze softened, almost tender. "You cannot bury who you are. You are the one who carried me from the flames. That fire never leaves." For a long moment, they stood in silence. Around them, soldiers cleared the chamber, but no one interrupted. The storm of battle had drawn them closer, binding them again in ways words could not. She lowered her weapon. For the first time since she appeared at his door, her voice trembled. "I feared you would turn away. But tonight you stood with me. And I will not forget it." His chest tightened. He looked into her glowing eyes. He saw not only the fierce warrior but also the child he once saved. And beyond that, he saw the woman she had become. Strong. Beautiful. Carrying a weight no one else could bear. He whispered, almost without meaning to. "I will not turn away again." Her lips parted as if to answer, but the ship gave a low rumble, pulling them back to the present. She looked away, her expression sharp again. Yet he had seen it. The flicker of something deeper. Something fragile beneath the storm. The bond had returned. And this time, it was unshakable. The ship drifted through the endless dark. The stars glimmered outside, cold and silent. Inside, the man walked beside her, though his steps felt heavier with every corridor. His heart carried the weight of questions he could not yet ask. She led him into a vast chamber at the ship's core. The air was thick with energy. Strange crystals pulsed along the walls, glowing with steady light. At the center stood a circle of her people. Elders. Their skin bore the same blue glow, though faded with age. Their eyes were sharp, watching him with both judgment and hunger. He felt their stares cut into him. He was not welcome. He was not trusted. Yet he was needed. One elder spoke. His voice was deep, shaking the chamber. "The human has come. The one tied by fate. The one who carries the fire." The man frowned. His voice was steady, though his chest burned with unease. "I am no savior. I am only a man." The elder raised his hand. A vision spread in the air above them. Flames. Worlds burning. Children crying out. Armies crushed under shadow. The vision tightened like a fist around the man's heart. "Our people are dying," the elder said. "We have found the ancient weapon. But only a human may unlock it. The stars gave us prophecy. You are the one." The man's breath caught. His chest grew tight. He turned to her, searching her face for denial. For mercy. But her eyes were lowered, her jaw tense. She knew this was coming. His voice trembled. "You brought me here for this. To be a key. To sacrifice myself." She flinched. Her eyes lifted to meet his. For the first time, he saw her armor crack. Her voice shook. "I did not want it to be this way. I came for you because I could not forget you. Because you are part of me. But my people, they believe only you can save them." The elders pressed closer. "The choice is yours, human. Stand with us. Or turn away and let us fall. If you walk, the blood of our children will follow you." His hands clenched. The weight of their words crushed him. He thought of his home, now far behind. He thought of her eyes, fierce yet trembling. He thought of the night long ago, when he had carried her through fire. Her voice broke the silence. I do not ask you as their queen. I ask you as the girl you once saved. If you walk away, I cannot follow. But if you stay, you may lose everything. His heart ached. The air pressed heavy. He stood at the edge of two paths, both carved with pain. One led to safety. The other led to sacrifice. He closed his eyes. Her voice echoed in his soul. The child's cry. The woman's command. The plea hidden beneath her strength. When he opened his eyes, the chamber held its breath. The choice was no longer only his. It was for her. For the bond they could no longer deny. And the weight of it burned deeper than any war. The chamber trembled with silence. Every elder's eyes burned with demand. The soldiers stood rigid, their armor glowing in the dim light. And at the center stood the man, trapped between destiny and despair. His heart pounded like a drum. The choice was clear yet cruel. Walk away and keep his life. Or give himself to the weapon and save a world that was not his. He turned to her. The blue-skinned woman who had once been a child in his arms. Her eyes, fierce and unyielding, now shone with hidden pain. She did not speak, but he saw the truth in her trembling hands. She feared his answer more than any war. He stepped forward. His voice was steady, though his chest burned. If my life is the cost, then I will give it. But I do this not for your elders. Not for prophecy. I do this for you. Her lips parted, her breath catching as if his words struck deep into her soul. The elders raised their hands. The chamber filled with light. A great crystal pulsed at the center, its glow spreading across the floor. The man walked into the circle, his body shaking as the energy wrapped around him. His heart felt as if fire was tearing it apart, but he did not stop. The weapon awoke. The crystal split, sending streams of light through the ship. Images of burning skies vanished. The vision of destruction broke apart. Hope filled the chamber, carried by the cries of his power. But the strength drained him. His knees buckled. His breath grew shallow. His skin turned pale. She rushed forward, breaking the circle. Her hands caught him before he fell. She held him tight, her tears spilling down her glowing cheeks. No. Stay with me. You cannot leave me now. His voice was faint, but his eyes held hers. I told you, saving you was always worth it. Her tears fell onto his face, glowing like drops of light. She pressed her forehead to his. Her voice shook. I never wanted a savior. I never wanted a weapon. I only wanted you. The chamber stilled. Even the elders lowered their heads. The soldiers bowed. Yet all she saw was him, fragile in her arms, his life slipping like sand. She clutched him tighter. I will not lose you. Not again. If I must give up my crown, my people, even my stars, I will. But I will not give up you. Her words broke the silence like thunder. The energy around them bent, as if her will reshaped it. The weapon's glow softened, no longer draining his strength but sharing it back. A new bond formed, not of prophecy but of choice. The man gasped, his breath returning. His body trembled, but life stirred again in his chest. His eyes opened, weak yet filled with wonder. She looked down at him, her tears mixing with a trembling smile. You are mine. Not because of destiny. Because I choose you. And I will choose you again, for all the stars to come. The chamber lit brighter than before. Not from the weapon. From them. From the bond between human and alien, savior and queen, man and woman. The elders bowed lower. The soldiers lowered their weapons. And the storm in the stars grew calm. The man lay in her arms, his strength returning slowly. His voice was faint, but steady. Then we stand together. No matter what comes. She held him close, her heart steady at last. The girl he once saved had returned, not as a child, not as a threat, but as the woman who would fight for him as he once fought for her. The war was not over. The stars would test them again. But now, they would face it as one. And nothing could break the bond they had forged in fire, in sacrifice, and in love.